Cole, man, you want to explain to everybody what you just did?
Underneath here, doing all the work that Carl can't do. And I just come up and I rail my head on this here corner. Now, I don't know how to prevent that from happening.
How many times have you done this now?
That's 3.
How you feeling?
Mad.
You look super mad. What we're doing right now is we're making sure that our depth is consistent across the whole planter, because just setting it in the same notch on each row does not mean that you're going to have consistent depth. What we're doing is we're sticking a 2x4 or a 2x2 in this case under each gauge wheel with the planter sitting down on the concrete. The disc openers are touching the concrete on each row, so we're getting this 1.5 inch board underneath the gauge wheels on both sides so that we're consistent at 1.5 inches. Then we're running our depth gauge as far forward as it will go until it touches the stops on the gauge wheel arms. And we're basically dropping it into the last notch that we can easily drop it into. Then we're putting a mark with a permanent marker on each side so we have a baseline to start from, and we know that that's the same on every row. So here's a quick example of 2 rows that would not have been the same if we wouldn't have done this. So here, if we take a look at row 7, we notice that the mark is on the 3rd notch down on both sides. This bolt actually sits in the 1st notch on the left side. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Over here on row 6, you'll actually see, if I can get this latch out of the way, it's on the 3rd notch down on the right side and on the 4th notch down on the left side. Now, why is that important? Well, it isn't if you don't care. But if you want every row to be planted at the exact same depth, you want every row to come up at the exact same time, it is important. So now that we've done that all the way across the whole planter, we know that at least every row has established a baseline that's exactly the same. We can adjust each row off of that baseline. Now, there are a few things left to do, like the meters and some software stuff and some wiring in the cab, but those are things that I can do that don't require any physical strength at all. Everything that I needed help with is done. What would your best piece of advice be to would-be farmer assistants out there in the YouTube verse?
If it's over spring break, I would book your plants early January. That way you have a fallback in case someone asks you to do something over spring break. Don't wait until last minute because you'll be stuck.
That's terrible advice. Well, it is Saturday morning and I'm taking off on a little adventure to get some round bales out of a field. It's pretty darn windy today. The ground is frozen right now, but it's just starting to thaw out. The sun is coming out. Hopefully it doesn't thaw too quickly or we're gonna have some issues getting out of this field, but we're gonna give it a try. He's just pushing me with the skid loader now. We'll get out. I think I've got it on my own now. Yep, we're out. And we're on the road. Man, this is actually pretty sweet. I don't even have to get out of the truck. Well, it's Sunday afternoon. It is an absolutely beautiful day. It's t-shirt weather, and the maple trees have finally decided that maple sapping season is over. The buds are opening up and starting to flower out. That makes the sap and the subsequently produced syrup extremely disgusting. Gross, rotten tasting, horrible smell when you're boiling it too, so it's time to be done collecting sap. So I'm gonna take these sap sacks off the trees. I love these things this year. First of all, I love that you can see at a glance, at a distance, if you've got any sap collected on your taps or not. It's really, really nice. I like the simple nature of just zip tying the sack to this piece of PVC pipe. And what I really love is when I get it all torn apart, instead of a bunch of buckets, I've got a sap sack full of garbage to throw away, and then just these plastic parts to wash up. It's gonna be so much easier to clean things up. Love it. Well, we're getting down to the last of it. I just got to put this in, and this is basically what I had been boiling the day before, or 2 days before, and you can see it already sort of looks like maple syrup. It's very, very thin yet, but it's very close to being done. So I'll put it in with this, and we'll get it all condensed into one pan, and then we'll be done. Well, it should be getting really close to being done, so at this point, we don't want to walk away from it for too long. Oh, look at that color. I wish you guys could smell this. Unbelievable. Is 151 last? That is not good. You're gonna say she's bull bred?
I think so.
This cow is so wild, she didn't even get in the head gate to get preg checked.
Pour and send her on her way.
Why don't you get out of here? We got other cows that want to come in. Yeah, all right, that's a good idea. It takes a veterinarian's education to think of that. I just stood here all day. Well, that's good news. Every single one of these cows back here has got a calf growing inside of her right now. 3 of them were bred on the artificial insemination attempt, and then 4 of them look like they were bred on the very first chance they had with the bull. Really good news. We don't like it when they get too far behind. A nice 3-week window of having calves is going to make us pretty happy this fall. So if everything goes good, we're going to have a good calf crop again this year. Well, I'm sure glad you were able to make it today. I'm going to get back in the house and make myself some breakfast and get some coffee. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.